play. Puta que apretei, cara. Não sei.
Hey guys, Jimmy Flores with Rhino Tactical again. So today we're going to get into what kind of ammo to use for the shotgun. Now a lot of people just go to like a Big 5 or a Walmart or a sporting goods store and they just buy either 12 gauge or 10 or 20 gauge or whatever they need just straight off the rack. But today we're going to get into a little bit of the terminology of what that actually means. The first thing we want to get into is what to look for when you actually buy a box of shotgun ammo at like your favorite sporting goods store. Now there's going to be a couple little things that each shotgun box says on the top of them. For this one, it's a 12 gauge shotgun, which is right there represented by gauge. I don't know if you guys can see that. The next thing is the DRAM equivalent, which is 3. Here is the ounces of shot, which is 1 1/8, and here is the number of shot, which is the size of the shot, which is 8. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about each one of these separately. The first thing we want to talk about is the first number on any shotgun box that you buy. So in this particular case it's 12 gauge. Now what that means, 12 gauge, the actual gauge, is measured by how many lead balls in the gun's bore size diameter it takes to equal 1 pound. So if it's a 12 gauge shotgun, it will take me 12 lead balls in the size of the gun bore's diameter to equal 1 pound. Same thing applies. If it's a 20 gauge shotgun shell, it will have 20 of those little lead balls that are the size of the gun bore's diameter to equal 1 pound. So for example, a 10 gauge, what would that be? That would be 10 lead balls the size of the gun bore's diameter to equal 1 pound. So that's how that's always been measured. So the next thing we want to talk about is what's called the DRAM equivalent. Now back in the day when they used to fill these with black powder, they emitted a certain amount of energy. Now that energy here is what we're equating this to. Now that doesn't mean that the same amount of black powder that they used back then, we're loading these up with today's modern smokeless powder, which burns at a faster rate. That's not true, because if we were to take the same amount of black powder that they used back then on these shotgun shells and load it with today's smokeless powder, which burns at a faster rate, these would be little sticks of dynamite. So that's not how it's measured. What this means is this basically has the same amount of energy coming out of it as whatever they used back then black powder wise. So in other words, these right now are 1,200 feet per second. These 12 gauge shotgun shells will shoot about 1,200 feet per second, which is equivalent to what they used to shoot back then with the black powder. So don't confuse the DRAM equivalent as the same amount of powder, because it's not. Like I said, if it was the same amount of powder into today's high active smokeless powder, these would be little sticks of dynamite, as we said. So the next thing we want to talk about is this number here. It says OZ shot, and then it says 1 1/8. What that is just a unit of measurement in weight. In this case, ounces. So it's 1 1/8 ounces of number 8 shot. Now depending on what you use your shotgun for, whether it's police, military, indoor defense, outdoor defense, trap and skeet hunting, whatever you want to use it for, that will determine what size shot you want to get. And the very last thing we want to look at is this number here. It says 8 shot. And all that is the size of the shot inside the shotgun shell. So in this case, let's go ahead and pull out a shotgun shot size gauge, and here we have the number 8. You can see is right here. Now this here is all lead shot, here is buckshot, and here is steel shot. Now depending on what you use, what purpose you use your shotgun for, will depend on what you want. This is more target, this is buckshot is more police and military, and steel shot could be depending on whatever you want to use it for, from a wide variety of ranges, but for the most part target, police, and a variety. So that's basically how that's determined. Now that's the last number on that box. And again, as you can see, this is a field and target load. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So here I put together a small little collection of these shotgun shells for you guys, ranging from target to law enforcement. Now you may ask yourself, well, what kind of shotgun shell is for me? I don't know. Depends on what you really want to use it for, whether it's indoor, outdoor, trap and skeet hunting, police, military. There's so many. With that being said, the best gauge to buy is your gauge. Now just remember, just because your situation is different from other people doesn't mean that you should shoot the same type of ammo. In other words, you as a person living in an apartment are not going to hopefully utilize the same shells that a police officer uses. Now these are double-aught buckshots. They are designed to go through car doors. You can see the implications of what would happen if you use this in an apartment. So be wise to your choices. You know, go out and experiment. You guys have also seen the devastating firepower of just a target load from my videos that you have seen. I put them all in center mass and it opens up a big cavity. So be wise when selecting your shells and according to your gun. And I hope you learned a lot about how the actual terminology on top of a box works. And we'll see you out there at the range.